That's I just like feeling my chest on occasion.
And that too.
Sorry. I just don't know how to drink.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm just going to have a moment here with the audience. You take care of that.
Yeah, that happened. Sorry about that, guys.
I can only look you in the eye right now. Right.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, I'm not going to wait for you to press the button.
I'm not going to talk about the weather.
We're not, because what is he yelling at me?
Oh. Car.
Trouble. We just have to say car.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Oh. So I won't tell you whether or not it's cold or warm.
It's how can I just? I've been getting a lot of let's say feedback from my audience about the other temperatures around the world. It's San Diego cold. Let's put it that way. So, Spencer,
Scott,
it has been a while, it seems, since we sat down in the proverbial car.
Yeah.
For photographers in cars.
It has been a while.
Yeah, at least a couple of weeks.
You've been busy.
I've been out in Death Valley. Just got back, like a day and a half ago.
Yeah.
48 hours maybe. Had a workshop out there. Great group of photographers.
Yeah.
We got some wonderful shots. Going to see all the cool, strange geology. We actually had a geologist as part of the workshop.
Whoa, really?
Yeah. So it was really cool because we got a little extra, knowledge dropped on us besides the photography part of it. Yeah.
So were they enrolled in the workshop also, or?
Oh yeah, he was one of the photographers. His day job. He's a geologist.
Oh
so
my gosh, that must have been so cool to go to
awesome. That. Yeah, so I got a lot of extra insight into the various formations.
Oh
and
man,
so forth.
that's so cool.
Yeah. Now, what have you been up to? You've been
camping
bouncing around in Northern California, Eastern California.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been all over California. It's been quite a while since we sat down in this car.
Yeah.
And by quite a while, I mean it's maybe 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, well, that's unusual. I mean,
yeah, I know it has been.
Yeah,
we've been busy. So yeah, I've been camping, doing the whole desert thing, flying my drone. That thing is fun. That thing is fun. But it's nice to actually come back and take pictures in San Diego and do this whole rhythm again of doing this. So
so where we are right now, we're looking out over the skyline. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of your continual seeking skylines type thing.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't necessarily the vantage is relatively classic, but the conditions are pretty unique.
San Diego is supposed to be getting a micro storm probably tomorrow, and so I was anticipating clouds. We got a little bit of clouds,
pretty low ones. I mean, a nice backdrop to the skyline for sure. Yeah.
So I wanted to do that. I also wanted to try to do some time lapse. I haven't done any time lapses with any of these newer Sony cameras because they don't have a built-in app system anymore. So now I'm actually still taking pictures. I'm looking out there and I see my gear, but it's got this cord connected to it that I'm just not familiar with. And I was like, oh, it's an intervalometer. These things, it's not. There's no screen.
So when I got my MacBook Pro and entered dongle life, you got your Mark III and entered dongle life for that.
Dongle life. Yeah. So and I noticed some modifications I'm going to need to do in my workflow because sometimes I'll do a time lapse and I'll have a time lapse just go on for hours and hours and hours, and I'll just feed a little USB battery bank to it. So then that way the battery's always topped off and I can keep shooting. Well, it turns out when I have an intervalometer on there, I no longer have that plug port. So I'm going to see. Right. I'm going to see what happens. And I'm using the RX10 right now. So the RX10 doesn't have one of those vertical grip things.
I was going to say, that would be the other thing is like a grip that basically doubles as a ginormous battery.
Yeah. So we'll see. This might just not be my time lapse. It's so convenient. I love this camera so much, but it just might not be my time lapse solution for longer time lapses.
So that one's got what, like 500 millimeter reach?
Oh, dude, I think it's 600. 24 to 600.
Okay. So what are you shooting at right now? I mean, because I was shooting at 200. I was just doing classic,
I'm looking at
shots.
I think I may be shooting at maybe 50.
Okay, yeah,
50 or 85, maybe.
So you're getting more of the activity in the harbor too, which would make it a lot more interesting for a time lapse as opposed to
correct.
Look, a light came on.
Yeah.
Oh, another light came on.
Oh, look, 600 millimeters. You can see a person inside of that window. Yeah, that's not what I'm after.
A time lapse of the end of the day in the office building.
Right.
Yeah.
So no, I want the context, and I want to see what happens is because now it's nighttime. I want to see the water just smooth out, stuff like that.
Right.
The city lights turn on, which they are. Looks freaking
So
cool.
for that case, then there was one boat that whipped through the harbor and kicked up some pretty cool wake. That should look pretty good in the time lapse.
Oh, I saw that. So time lapse now. Time lapse. Man, every time I do that, like a split second after I make a weird face, I just know.
That's the title card for the next
you're
episode.
gonna be like, no, I think Spencer expected there to be a little break into the video, but not this time around.
No. I'll freeze it and blow it up.
Gosh, man. So so just the city's so nice. The San Diego has a lot of cool things to time lapse. So when we get clouds, when we have activity in the harbor, lights turning on, day to night, stuff like that. But
I think that's true of a lot of cities, really. I mean, like where we are right now, it's we're in San Diego, but it's not about the ocean or anything that's particular. Well, it's not like it's not unique to San Diego. Obviously, the skyline is, but I mean, lots of cities have harbors or rivers. And this type of stuff you can do in any major city.
That's very true.
So that's kind of cool.
I guess I should say we're fortunate enough to live in a city. That's
in a city, period. Yeah. I'm sitting here like waiting for the
because
the other
if you can do
sentence.
time lapses in any city, which honestly you can, then we're fortunate enough to live here. Because I imagine like if we lived in I'm just pulling something completely over. Bandy, California. That's a place, right? It's like a ghost town, I think.
But let's say one I just drove through, which is Baker, California.
If you live in Baker,
what was it, Aramagosa or Shoshone, where that's like population 92.
Yeah.
Where street photography would literally be the street.
Yeah, and all 92 of the people who live there would be in the same outing for your street photography.
If they came out, yeah. So I mean, it could be a lot less interesting. Yeah. But then you have night skies, and that could be cool time lapse.
Oh, see, that's true.
See it. So that's a cool thing about time lapse, I suppose. If you think about it enough, you can probably find something, and they get much better clouds out there more often than here. So even if all right, it's the abandoned places. All right, fine, it's an abandoned, like Rhyolite. It's up in in Nevada where it's the abandoned ghost town. But if the sky's moving along and doing a whole bunch of cool stuff, that would look pretty wicked.
Oh, it would.
Gotten in my inner Bostonian.
Gosh, man, now I want to go there. I was about to throw Bandy under the bus or Baker under the bus, but now it actually seems like a cool place to do it. I wasn't going to really throw him under the bus. I was just going to be like,
it would be a big bus.
It would be a very large bus. That's a large bus. But I'm just saying, there's activity time lapses look really, really cool when there's a change happening over time. Yeah. Otherwise, it's going to be 300 images of the same thing.
So that kind of makes it interesting. So do you find, because I don't do a ton of time lapses, but do you find that something that has consistency through all the frames, something that anchors it, does that make a more compelling time lapse? Like here, it's the skyline. Most of the things are doing stuff. Or, a city street or something like that.
So I think, so a time lapse allows you to freeze a location and see the deltas that happen over time. A hyperlapse, on the other hand, doesn't freeze a location. So, and it's still compelling to me. Like I'm still really interested in seeing hyperlapses, and I'm like, hyperlapses are still quite cool, even though the entire frame is changing from point A to point B, right?
Well, yeah. It's funny. Hyperlapse is it was 2.5, 3 years ago. There was this big, explosion of them, and even was it Twitter that put out the first app that did?
Was it Twitter or was it Vine? Do you remember?
I can't. I never used Vine, but I know what it is. I can't remember which one it was. They made an app and made it very easy to do on your phone, and then I don't see them very often anymore.
I think it's because it's difficult. I think for me, or from where I sit, I think hyperlapses are pretty difficult to do because you actually either have to have a gimbal with you that always maintains that, for parallax. It always has to be that way, and you're moving. Time lapses are easy. I have a tripod. I'm taking pictures right this moment without even touching that camera that's sitting out there.
Yeah, but so there'll be somebody that says time lapses aren't necessarily easy. Now, I would say that, your setup is fixed.
Yeah.
You don't have a rail. You don't have a motor. You don't have any of those other things.
No.
and where some of them get very elaborate, where I don't know if this is done in post or it's done in camera, where your perspective shifts, like it zooms out as it moves and curves around and rotes and pans. And
so the
all these types
rotation
of
can't be
controls.
done in post. I have the rail
Rotation
system.
you can't do it.
Yeah,
obviously.
so I have the one. It's called the Axis 360 is the one I have, and so it'll rotate.
Too bad it's not the axis of evil.
Oh, yeah. So
We were talking about Austin Powers before. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, we still have it in. Yeah, we still have it in our minds. So you can't rotate that, but I mean, when you're taking a shot, just lots and lots of shots, and you have I would imagine a high enough resolution camera, you can zoom in and actually start doing some of the panning, in
like
post.
you do like a Ken Burns type of thing.
And I've seen a lot of people do that.
Yeah, for
Seen
sure.
a lot of people do that. And when you have a camera like a 42 megapixel or a 50 megapixel camera, you can go all over the frame.
But I guess my point being is a time lapse without a rail system, you're right. It's pretty simple, and there's not involvement of hyperlapse. You're not having to move from point A to point B. But as I understand it, and I've never used a rail system, but there is setup that's involved, and you need pretty sturdy gear. You can't, you need.
Oh yeah,
I've seen people online where they're using 2 tripods to mount both sides of the rail to make sure it's going to be steady and stable. And I mean,
it's very important that you make sure because as the camera moves from one part of the rail to the other, the weight is going to be different. So that's how come you have the 2 tripods. I have the rail system, and honestly, I also find it fairly easy until I introduce the rotation. The rotation is the one I'm still trying to figure out. But you just be like, okay, look, here's the time lapse. The camera's going to take its own shot. And by the way, the Axis 360 has its own like little GUI or little interface. And I'm trying to remember. You just say, okay, I want you to move this much every second. And so it's just an additional layer.
Does it have a cable that goes up in to also fire the camera too, right? So you don't have to figure out your intervalometer and time the thing and already like go and hope you hit them at the same time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you also have to make sure that they don't overlap. You don't have movement in the rail that also occurs at the same time as your exposure. So like for instance, if my headlights are on. Let me turn off the headlights. I just noticed my headlights are on. There we go, dude. Electric car, you got to be cognizant.
Well, there's a poor guy down there taking photos too. He's like, man, I got this headlight on.
Oh, I know. Sorry, poor man.
Yeah.
So you just have to make sure, because I've seen people do those rail shots, the movement rail shots of the Milky Way. And if you were to take a long exposure shot while your rail is moving, you just ruin that
frame. Yeah. Okay.
So there's that. But a hyperlapse, I don't know, just like it's physically different. Your body's you're holding something different. You have to make sure you maintain that. I mean, you don't want to slouch all of a sudden. And then, I don't know. I tried to hyperlapse once.
Well, and the ones that are really compelling are the ones that are also very long distances to me.
Yeah.
And so the only one I think I've done 1 or 2, and it's been in my car. You stick the thing up on the dash, you start driving and let the thing go. Right. And honestly, you could probably do that as a time lapse anyway, because at that point, the anchor point in that thing is probably the hood of your car.
That's true. Or the dash, or
something like that. Yeah, but for the hyperlapses where, I've seen the ones that are like cute and fun, and somebody like jumps in the air, and then you move 6 feet back and jump in the air. You see like music videos that will do that kind of stuff. Yeah, it takes a ton of planning.
Oh yeah,
a ton of planning.
So another thing that I didn't realize until I started doing more and more time lapses when I take a picture, when I'm doing a time lapse, that camera is doing something. I can't move it to go take a picture of something else.
It does mean how you got here before I did, but we're probably close to 2 hours into since you've been here now. I mean, yes, it's a significant time commitment. You bring a second camera or something else to occupy your idle hands.
Oh yeah, so I remember. I was with you. We did the wildflowers. That super bloom up in.
What, a year plus ago? Maybe about a year ago?
Actually, I think it was about a year ago. So I had a camera facing one direction for sunrise, another camera facing a flower. So then that way it'll open up as the sun rises. So that's 2 time lapses. And then I had a third camera so I can take pictures of a variety of things. There was one time that I actually had 5 Sony A7R2s just because
6 would be too many.
Yeah, 6 would be way too many. Oh my God, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
No, so well, I also used to shoot a lot of weddings, and I need backups for my backups.
Of course.
That's how I am. That's how I'm built.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, when you want to get your feet wet with time lapse, just know that if you want to take a picture of something else, you can't touch the camera doing the time lapse.
I think one of the first times I did a time lapse where it wasn't too terrible is that we were traveling somewhere.
Yeah.
And I have the camera with me, the little travel tripod, and we were going to eat dinner. It was like outdoor street cafes or something like that in some European city. I can't remember which one. And you just set that up and you leave it there because I'm not going to do anything else.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to eat dinner now or talk with the family and so forth. And you get like a time lapse out of it for free. Maybe it might have been, an hour and a half or something like that.
Yeah.
Of frames, and then you stick it together. So that's, that's like a kind of a way to do a time lapse without having to, burn another 90 minutes to 2 hours of your life if that's not what you're into.
Yeah.
But, it's only certain places you can do that. Yeah.
Yeah. And also at the same time, I've seen other photographers do time lapse. Wow, I didn't realize we're actually going to be talking about time lapse.
It's just turning into a time lapse show.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna do the video backwards. Actually, why don't we? Ooh, how about I just take every 6th frame of this entire show, and that will be what we put out.
Hey man, that's all you. You're the one that does the video. If you want to go ahead and do that,
completely choppy and like basically unwatchable.
It may actually just look like really poor internet connection. But our voices are still coming out.
Somehow that's going to be a filter 10 years from now. Remember when we used to have poor internet connection? Yeah, filter.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. So,
anyway, yeah.
I've seen photographers use their, expensive DSLRs or mirrorless cameras to go photograph whatever they want to, but then they're still doing a time-lapse, and their time-lapses I've seen are, action cameras or a GoPro or something like that, just doing a time-lapse for them because... I don't know, for a time lapse, I don't know that you need the 50 megapixels or anything.
Well,
like
it's ultimately going to be a video.
Oh, yeah.
And so, for people that are, usually when I think of, your 40 and 50 megapixel cameras, I'm going to want to make some type of sizable print from that. I'm not going to print my time lapse. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that actually makes a fair amount of sense. Use a smaller camera. That's actually one of the reasons I kept my A6000.
Okay.
Just spill it all over yourself. Huh?
Yeah. I just like feeling my chest on occasion.
And that too.
Sorry. I just don't know how to drink.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm just going to have a moment here with the audience. You take care of that.
Yeah, that happened. Sorry about that, guys.
I can only look you in the eye right
now. Oops. I was hoping that was...
But yeah, that's why, I kept the A6000 because it makes for a nice little... secondary camera or so forth, and do a time lapse with it or something. And it's got that app on it.
It does.
It's got the PlayMemories app on it.
I miss that so much.
Yeah, that's kind of cool too.
My camera seems pretty quiet. I'm not sure it's taking any more.
It just took another one. Yeah.
Okay.
Although it's getting pretty kind of amber red as far as the color tones it's picking up now because it's getting late.
I may have to go stop that time lapse and also pee.
I can think of a way you might want to put those two together, but it would really cost you some equipment. So let's not do that, but let's just go.
Okay.
See you, everybody. Next time. Oh, my God.
How? I'm confused. The temperature's confusing me.